Franken Friday.
It's not surprising that there's so many Frankenstein movies, since the novel is in the public domain. Any filmmaker is free to take the idea, to retell it, to adapt it, to do anything they please. Many of these are straight to DVD or made for television. Others are theatrical releases, such as I, Frankenstein, where the monster is fighting demons in a dystopian world. Yeah, anything goes. Then there's Frankenstein's army, set during World War II. Here the Nazis are using Frankenstein's methods of reanimating dead body parts to create an army. So you can't say they haven't tried anything different. These movies are all over the place, and every year there's more. The most recent addition that I've seen that's fresh in memory is Victor Frankenstein, released in 2015. This is it, the most recent Frankenstein film to be featured in Monster Madness. Here's the basic gist. Frankenstein, played by James McAvoy, recruits a circus performer, Igor, played by Daniel Radcliffe, to help him with his experiments of... what else? Creating life. Igor, by the way, is in classic hunchback form, just like the various assistants in all the Universal films, but not for long. Early in the film, Frankenstein gets him to stand up straight by draining the giant cyst on his back and then ramming him against a wall. Then there's the typical inspector who's suspicious of their experiments. Doesn't it all sound like something we've seen before? It sure sticks to the classics, doesn't it? There's also a subplot where Igor has an affair with another circus performer who he saved from an injury in the opening scene. This creates a problem with Victor because he sees her as a distraction. Then Victor gives life to monster number 1, which is some kind of weird chimpanzee. It's pretty grotesque looking. Sadly, this might be the most original creative scene in the whole movie. After this failed experiment, Victor begins monster number 2, and this time things are complicated by a classmate of his, villain number 2 if you count the inspector. The classmate wants to kill Victor and use the monster as a weapon. This all amounts to a climactic scene in the lab, just like all the classic films, where the monster gets up in the last act and flips his shit. And the monster himself, well, it looks a lot like the classic image we all know. I found myself grinning, realizing the times haven't changed as much as I thought. While this film doesn't explore any new interesting directions, it gave me an unexpected nostalgia kick that I was watching another classic Frankenstein film that I've never seen. And I don't mean the true classics like the ones from James Whale. I mean more like the Hammer films, but more specifically the sequels, the more exploitive, run-of-the-mill ones. For example, when Victor has the eyes in a tank and uses a flame to get them to react, that's right out of Revenge of Frankenstein. The laboratory set would have perfectly fit in with the Hammer age. You always got to have that big electrical switch for epic effect. It wouldn't be cool if it was just an ordinary switch, if you did this, click. No, it's got to be like... Also, there's the exterior shot with lightning striking the castle. All the cliches are there. I don't know what this film's agenda was. It's not a remake of any particular film, nor is it a faithful adaptation of the book in any way. I feel like it's just a modern-day equivalent of a traditional Frankenstein film. It's the most common, basic thing it could have done. For the general public, I do not recommend this. It's not a great film in any way. There's not much of a point of this film even existing, but if you're a big Frankenstein fan and you love all the classics, you might see it in a different light.